Hi guys, John here, Mr. Forex Fire. So in this video, we're going to be going and back over and revisiting supply and demand and how we can use this in conjunction with smart money. Instead of going all out and doing Fibonacci zones and using certain fib levels, I'm just trying to simplify the process and giving it an easier outlook to the new guys that are within the group. Okay, now you've heard me go on a lot about the FireBox. Okay, and I got you guys just at the beginning or at the end of last week to start to do some homework and draw these fireboxes out. The full terminology for this particular style of trading, even though it's a supply and demand area, it all credit goes to a guy called Antoine. Okay, it's a guy I follow on MentFX, and it is derived from his concept called a Ment block. But because we are known as forexfire, I just want to sort of get our zone area and just give it obviously the name of that fire block. But all credit goes to the guy there. So I just thought I'd give that a shout out to the guy that I've been learning this from as well. It's a fantastic technique, and we're going to incorporate this alongside the pullbacks, retracement areas, and also I'm going to sort of go over what we're looking for, what it consists of, and show you the power of just why it focuses you into a certain area. Okay, now a lot of you that are inside of the Discord group, you will have known that Andy has done or shown a technique with the ADR, the average daily range. It's the scalping technique that I'm going to show you going later on in next week is pretty similar to the ADR and how you can use that, but it's just showing you from a swing aspect what this fire block can do. So I'm just going to head over to the chart first of all. I'm just going to give you the general consensus of what the fire block is and what we can look for. Okay, this is just a basic rundown of this technique. But this is not going to be homework. It's just going to be giving you an understanding of what the fire block is and how we identify it. Okay, and this will be going into the supply and demand video training area. So I'm just going to share the screen. This was the homework bits that I got used to do. Again, we'll be going more in depth with this on the scalping side going into next week. However, a lot of you that have been engaging with this, just make my head a little bit bigger. Let's have a look. Wow, right. So if you're not already part of this Discord community, we now have 292 people. Come inside. We've got the homework on here, the homework section on smart money, the bankers area, very in depth. We go on the homework with supply and demand, the homework on ADR, and currently we're doing some homework with the smart money scalping. Again, we've got video training on currency strength, video training on supply and demand stuff, video training on smart money and bankers. We have a members chat area, members trade IDs, and so on. Okay, so we're just going to get rid of that. We're just going to take it to this chart. Okay, now you'll notice on here, this here, even though it's very choppy, this is a very sort of condensed zone with the liquidity on the top and liquidity on the bottom. Now you'll notice on here we had a drop out. Okay, so if I get the forexfire magic wand, you'll see here we had a fake out, we've come back into retesting area, and then we had a big drop. Okay, so this then tells me the distribution on the high side. Okay, so as we come in, we've climbed, we've entered a consolidation phase because you've had the push up and it's on the top side. This is a distribution area. It's come down, it's broke out, and then we're starting to climb down. Now, I just want to try and focus your attention into that sort of area at the moment. Okay, I just want to focus your attention into there, and I'm just going to show you one or two things with these fire blocks. Okay, so let's just scroll into this. Now, take your attention to this bit here. What we have is, if we just create a block, you've come down as the push out, okay? And then from this pin, this wick up to here, we've had a retracement, okay? So this here is a fire block or a mend block, okay? So that there is a fire block, okay? Now, generally, the rule of consensus and the way I trade these is I wait for 50%, that's this line here, to come back as a retracement, okay? Now, I'm just going to show you the power on this bit, right? So if we just zone ourselves in, we've got wick to wick on the retracement after the push out, okay? What you can do is you can put your horizontal line, okay? Bang. You've had the breakout here. Now, this does not have to just be a body of a candle, okay? The breakout occurs from when the liquidity grab is taken. So what you can see, if we just get the brush, okay, liquidity was on here all the way. So we're going along, 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 and then the liquidity grab was right here, okay, right here, okay? So we'll just get rid of these. Now, what's happened is if you put your horizontal line along the 50%, now I always say around about 50%, okay, and we just have that as the green. From there, you've had the breakout, it's come straight back in and it's retested the area of the 50% of the retracement, okay? Now, I'm going to just highlight this in a bit better, okay? So this is the area we're concentrating on. So as you've come down on the breakout, you start getting a bit of a retracement back in. Okay, so we do wick to wick of that pullback retracement. So it's a pullback, it's a retracement, it's a pullback in towards where the breakout occurred on the higher side. So that is our focal point, okay? You are technically waiting for a breakout either on the low side or the high side. You had a breakout here, okay? And you can see we had a retest here, okay? And this here has phenomenally went down as it's done that and given us a really good, let's just see if I can see this, scroll back out, and you can see on here, let's get the measuring, it went all the way down to 200 pips, okay, after the breakout. Now, if you notice this here, it came back and it's retested the same area, okay? Once again, from that retest down to there, there's 117 pips, okay? Now, because the fire block on this is quite, what's the word, is quite sort of short, you could of sort of getting in here, have it above that high point, okay, there's 20 pips. Again, structure-wise, we can see structure-wise, see this point here, down to there, it's come down to test that. As we go down, there's a risk to reward of 1 to 8, okay? And then again, as we've come back up, we've created some more sort of points of interest. So right here, we've got a point there, and you could see a point there in argument's sake. Again, you've had to here after the retest, that would have been a 1 to 5 just about, but just shows you the power and what these fire blocks are. Now, I'm just gonna make these, let's get rid of these. About far back as we're going to go. So this is where we had the breakout, okay? Now, as we've come down, we've come back to retest, okay? We've come out, we've come back to retesting here. You could arguably say the next fire block would be from this point as it's coming to retest, okay? Down to, let's see, it would be down to that area there, because you've started getting the retracement. Let's have a look. That would be the better one to use, to be fair, because you've had a strong leg of retracement. Okay, so what's happened is, if we do this, and again, when you get bigger fire blocks, it's all about time and fractal nature. Okay, if you have too much of a sort of area, like from here, the halfway point up to there, which is about 40 pips, not too bad to use, to be fair. If you were to use that area, you could refine your entry, if that makes sense, to look for candles and order blocks within there. So what you've got is, again, as we come down, we've had the push, okay, from the high here down to this area here. We've had the pullback. You've had the breakout from there, and then from there you've had the retracement. And again, I talk about the 50%. We can do it from here. You've had the retouch from here on the 50%, and then it's come down. However, the 25, okay, the 25 is a pretty good area. You've got the 25s, the 0.5s, and the 0.75s, which is on the higher end. Okay, normally when you are crashing out of the bottom of the fire block, you are looking for the retracement to either be on the 25, which is this here. Okay, the retracement to either be this area here, or for a deeper bargain basement price to be there. Okay, the moment we've pushed out, and we start pushing back up, you just bear with us, because let's get rid of that. So the moment we push out of here, we are looking for either one or two areas, either the 25 or a half re-entry. Okay, once you start pushing out of the 75, if you get a reversal and a breakout of this area here, the retest would tend to come on this side. So if you can imagine a mirror, okay, let's just have a look. If you can imagine the mirror, okay, that's your 50%. So what will happen is, as you've had a breakout, okay, and it comes up and it crashes through the halfway point from the downside, if it crashes above the 75 area, okay, and then out of the very top, it comes back into retest this area, we might get a continuation up, if that makes sense. Let's just take another further look. So we've come up and we've come down, we've crashed out of that. So again, you mark the area from here, okay, because this is where we had the breakout, we come back in. So you would mark your new fire block from here down to here, because this is where you've had the retracement. Okay, now when you watch on this part, let's just take a look. Just get rid of this, just get rid of some of the noise, and I hope you're following along with this, and you can practice drawing these up, because learning to do these is going to help you visualize and look at these areas, but more so it's going to help you with more in-depth stuff when I start to go a bit more heavier in supply and demand. So what we've got, you've had the, let's have a look, get the correct one, John. So you've had the breakout underneath here, okay. As you can see, the breakout's occurred here. However, if we put the fibs on, let's just break it out along here. Again, it's came up and it has come and broke through the 25 and the 50, which is where I would normally get in on. Again, you could have technically had a short position on any one of these. If you went too right on the bargain basement sort of thing and had your area like that, you could have had a 1 to 2.5, or run about 1 to 2.5. However, what's happened is it's eventually done a reversal and it's broke out of what I would have called the liquidity area. And you'll sharp identify with this sort of stuff, as you can see on here. this here, this is what you need to look for, because as it's come up, it's retested this the equal high, it's come down, it's broke out, and then it's retested back on what possibly would have been the 25 area. Okay, let's just have a look at this. Just shy of about a pip or two. Yeah, around about 2 pips. See what I mean when I say it can break out of the top side, come back down and retest on the opposite side of the mirror on that quarter part. I hope you're all following along with this, because it's all secret sauce. It's all magic stuff. We'll just go back. So from there, as you've come up, okay, we start again. Okay, so what we're doing is we are doing from here down to here. Okay, add the reversal on the top side. And then from there, guys, there's your area there. And you can get in on these trades anywhere once it comes back in to sort of retest this. Again, it's all about fractal nature. You could take it down to 15 minutes. Okay, let's just have a look in. And then from there, what you've got is the last down before the up on here. Okay. Factor in a couple of the candles in there. It's come back into retest again. Just to show you how important this is. As you've had a breakout of here, it's come back down and bang, it's retesting the first area of that fire block, which is the 25. Again, remember the 25.5 before the push through. The deeper you go, the more of a bargain you're going to get. However, if it pushes through the halfway point and you're going towards the final part, which is the 75, you're bordering on towards what I would call it tend to be more or less a reversal sort of pattern. From there, let's just go back onto that and go onto the hour. Again, as you can see, we've come in and we've tested that. Let's just have a look. So as you've had a breakout, you're then starting where the breakout started falling. We've got from here to this part. However, as you can notice, we've come out and then we've come, well, seeing that, let's just highlight this in because this one's rather interesting. Right, so we just do that to get rid of the noise. You've gone from the top to the bottom here. Okay, let's just have a look at the area. Okay. What you've had is you've had you can see as we've come on this here is the fire block. We've come broke out here. Okay, we've pushed out, we've come back in. Where have we tested? You've got it. We've tested bang on the 25. So we've pushed up. You could, again, a couple of things, because this would be a long. You could have had an entry here. From there, you're looking at possible highs on here. You've got the last down before the up on here. So that was the last mint block or fire block, as we're going to be calling these. You could have had that as a target. Okay, up to here. Again, generally, if you're going from the 25, I would have the next sort of area down as the halfway point as a stop. Okay, so there's a one before. Let's get rid of some more of this noise. Watch this video back as much as you can, guys, okay? Because you'll get so much out of watching these things. We'll just get rid of that there because I don't want too much noise on. I just want to show you something else. So as you've come out for a push out here, okay, so that would then define this area here up to here as you meant a fire block, okay, because you've pushed out here, so it's come back to retrace here, created a new high. Okay, guys, So what we do then is we look for where the breakout's going to occur. The breakout has occurred here. Okay, what you've got, we'll just get rid of that. And if we break out the fibs, do this on here, you can see the breakout occurred here. Okay, there's your 50% tested. 50% tested there. You could technically have your area there. This is just down to personal preference. Where would your end result be? You could either have one or two places. You could either have here, okay, which is the bottom end of the previous, or you could have the bottom end of this previous. Okay, so we just cut out the noise, just have these here. You could technically have had a 1 to 4.2, or if we go all the way down to the bottom, which is this block here, you could go for a 1 to 8.85. Okay, so hopefully you're grabbing the gist of what these blocks are. It's just identifying where the swing points are and getting used to where you draw them from. Okay, you need to really take notes, jot down things, watch this video back as much as you possibly can, because it's not always about where these green and orange swing points are. This is just a stabilizer. I'm just going to take off the noise there just so I can talk to you personally, right? So let's just make this bigger. So it's not just about sort of having the green and orange areas in there. That indicator that I spoke to you about is just to help you identify visually where things are. You can actually have these blocks within that area. Okay, and again, when it comes to scalping and using this method, I've got a seriously, and I mean a seriously good way of getting some good risk to reward in, and I'm trying to sort of condense this down to make them into an easier push for maybe a 1 to 3 risk to reward. Again, all credit goes to the guy that I followed this from, which was Antoine, sorry, and what his teaching was. I'll be bringing more of this into the group that we do. It's a fantastic way of trading. And one more thing, we're just going to go and share the screen. And again, guys, when you think about it, okay, what we are looking at is, let's just go under a different pair altogether, just so I'm not sort of confusing things. Let's just see if I can sort of build something up for you here for you as well, just before we end this. Have I got anything on this pair? Yeah, what's one on that? Have I got anything on that? What I'll do is I'll leave it there, guys, because I don't want to sort of confuse it too much. I'm just going to stop the share. Okay, so hopefully you've found this little bit of an introduction to what is a fire block, in brackets ment block, which is what I've learned from Antoine. Okay, all the credit goes to that guy. I'm trying to bring as much sort of as many different sort of aspects to trading smart money into the group. Okay, there's so many different ways you can sort of do these ment block, fire block, sorry, simply because after all, what we're sort of looking at is this here. Let's see, as you've got your retracement here. Okay, just to go on one more thing, what you've had, okay, is like there, you've had the push out from there, you've come back in, and then you've had your retracement. Okay, so as you've had the push out, you've come back in for the retracement, and then you've come down again. From that aspect, guys, and again, this is not it's recorded, but believe me, I don't set these up. This is heading down to this area. Just go to a short position. You would have gotten in here, possibly had a on that quarter point just above, and there's a risk to reward of a 1 to 7, guys, if it was to attain the level of what it's doing and push itself down to meet the parameters and touch here. Okay, but overall, what I'm getting at is you have, when I talk about supply and demand, okay, I'm just going to go up to a 4 hour. When I speak about supply and demand areas, okay, what we have, USD, let's take a look, right? So when I speak about supply and demand areas, okay, we are simply looking at the last up before the down or the last down before the up. So if you can imagine this here, this is a very big order block, to be fair. What you've got here, okay, scratch that out. Okay, what you've got here, this is, that there is a candle with its own sort of support and resistance area. Okay, it's one block. The parameters is the same between that concept and a swing point. You're just extending where the contracts have been on these fire blocks. Okay, so as you can see on here, again, this has been tested just from that one candle as a sort of demand area. Look, there's your halfway point. Don't make this up, bang, and it's dropped like a stone. Doesn't look much, but that there's 160 pips. Okay, absolutely fantastic stuff. Again, from there, guys, let's just take a look. What you've got is right here, you've got the last up before the down. That would have been a retrace. It's come into retrace and it's closed us out. Again, this one just to refine it. Okay, see this here? Let's extend this out between here. Now, this is a perfect example, to be fair. Got to make my head bigger for this. Bang, right. So this here will be known as a supply area. Okay, this down here would be a demand. Okay, so let's just highlight this just to close it out. So what we've got, demand zone is on the bottom. Okay, and on the top would be known as a supply zone. Okay, now again, just going on the preference of the fib in the middle. Okay, you've got that there. It's come back and it's retested beautifully to the bargain basement area, the 75. Okay, and then it's dropped like a stone. However, I would have had, if you were going from a candle aspect to make a zone, okay, the demand zone, I would have had the halfway point being the area, and I would have had a 50% there, to be fair. I would have had that as the area and the 50% of this demand area. There's a 1 to 9. Okay, absolutely fantastic. But what I'm getting at, guys, that is in itself a supply area. What we are doing, if we just get rid of everything on here, you are basically, when you get these retracement areas, okay, when you get these retracement areas, instead of having the one block as your supply area, you are giving the area an extended area of a supply zone, if that makes sense. So when you're looking at it from a bigger picture, when you're stepping and looking at the bigger picture and giving it a bird's eye view sort of thing, you're sort of saying, right, where we've had a breakout on the bottom side. Okay, again, this may be a bit of a bad example on this one, on the extended one. You're extending your lines out, you're looking for an entry and a run out the halfway point. Still, this would have been a successful trade, simply because you possibly would have taken that on the half. Again, maybe with massive pips on this, so it is a bit of a bad example, and then come back down to where we had the breakout. Okay, so when you're looking at liquidity, okay, you're looking at the where you've come out, we've had the breakout. When you have the return back in on the flag pattern, you're looking for these sort of areas. Okay, But again, with this being on the 4 hour, it's a bit of a bad example. Even if you refined it down and you sort of went where we'll go on the 75 there, okay, and our stop area is just above where the previous high is. That's a bit more acceptable, to be fair. From there, you've got the area of liquidity on the bottom on the downside. However, you could technically say, well, the last down before the up, which is this here, okay, the last down before the up, let's just make that white. Needs to be red. It's this one here. The last down before the up, okay, you're looking basically 50% of that candle there in a zone in itself, okay, being the area where you're expecting it to hit. It's hit the 75, but that would have been where I would have went to. That's given you, based upon the breakout, okay, and the last down before the up, and that zone, that zoned candle, it's giving you a risk to reward of 1 to 4.32, okay. So again, that's it for the training on what a fire block is. Again, all sort of credit goes to Antoine. Something that I've learned, and I will be bringing more of his stuff to the group. I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger. I hope you're finding these videos useful and educational. Again, please give it the thumbs up if you're enjoying another outlook and sort of approach to using smart money rather than just having certain fib levels on this, like 71 and the 80 odd areas. I'm trying to simplify the process and being as visual as I possibly can to help you identify, because this will help you look at the movements of structure, okay? When you get the retracements and identifying and breaking out a zone and then looking from a retracement area or a target area, realizing that for in the longer term picture, that zone has to be met contract wise. And the way we look at that is segmenting it up like you're cutting orange in half, and you'll get like certain areas where it'll be all segmented out, and each one of those lines will be respected at some point, way, shape or form. Okay, so I've gone on enough. I hope you've enjoyed this video for this week. This will be going into the subsection on supply and demand under FireBox. Okay guys, thank you very much. See you later.